Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today is just one of those videos where I kind of knew what I wanted to create except for I didn't have what I needed. So this happens to all of us and I'm going to make do with what I have as per usual, and I'm going to take you guys along for the ride with me. So I hope that you enjoy this video, and this really is the motto of my channel. It's about using what we have. It's about making do with what we have. It is great to purchase and buy new items. I love doing that as much as the next person, but there is so many options out there and it's expensive. It's really expensive. So we have to make really clever choices and make sure that what we purchase we're going to use in so many different ways. So today I am going to use what I have purchased and make it work for me. I am starting off with a couple of distress oxides. Now I am using Tumbled Glass and Uncharted Mariner, and I am going to use some finger daubers. You could also use just some normal domed foam blenders if you were making a slightly bigger card, but I also decided that previously I had created a stencil for creating the bokeh effect, and I'm actually going to end up using that again today. So this is just a self-made stencil. I used a piece of the Hero Arts Acetate because this one is die cutting friendly, and I also just used 4 different circles from a stacking circle set, and then that way I have myself my own stencil that I can reuse. Now I also decided to cut down my piece of paper just a little bit to give me a better idea of where I was sort of aiming with this, and I did actually first try out on a scrap piece of paper just using the finger daubers and kind of twisting them in a circle, but honestly I thought I wanted slightly cleaner edges for this, and I like the look that the stencil gives me. So because I had it there and it was within my reach, it made it nice and easy as well. Now I want these to be just sort of randomly spaced out. I do not want them in an even line. They don't have to be perfect, because that way if they're not even and perfect, it makes life just a little bit easier for me. Less measuring. If you watch my channel you know that I'm not a big fan of measuring things. I prefer to just eyeball everything, and so that's pretty much what I'm doing here. Making sure that they're not following any sort of real pattern, except for obviously going the dark light, dark light. So making sure that I have enough spaces here and enough dots. Now in my most perfect world I would have had these little alphabet stamps or something that would have gone perfectly in the middle of each one of these. Now I kind of thought I would just have something like that, and I just don't, and that's okay. So the only thing that I could find in my whole stash that was alphabet is this washi tape. Now it's a bit of a fancy old sort of style text, but that's okay. It's also got a little bit of a vintagey brown sort of look going to it. That's okay, I can make anything work. And now this does have the whole alphabet. And the last time I used it, I just cut out the letters and things that I needed for a different project. So I had sort of bits and pieces left over, and I just thought if I pop them all in a container, once I have even cut into the roll of washi tape, then that's okay too. Now this washi tape ends up, it actually has a backing on all of it, so it's quite handy like that. But I will just pop these all in a little container for next time that I would like to use them and find the right letters. There was heaps and heaps and heaps left on the roll once I was finished, so I wasn't worried about that, and I may as well use it outright. And if I don't have what I need, then I can find what I need in my stash if I just sort of adjust my thinking a little bit. So I was obviously trying to spell out the words happy birthday. This was a birthday card for a friend of mine, and I had in mind, I knew who it was going to. And so what I'm doing is I'm just putting them on this white background. And this is just a scrap piece of white cardstock, because the washi stickers at the moment, if I put them onto those circles, they won't stick very well because it's the Oxide ink and this is washi tape. And washi tape over Oxide ink in such small little amounts, I just had a fear that that would not last very well. And so the last thing I want to happen is for them to be peeling off or letters missing or something like that once the card had been delivered. So I pop them onto some white cardstock. Now if your washi tape, if you are scared that it is going to unravel, at this point before you cut everything up, I would run a layer of liquid glue, something like matte medium or some Mod Podge or something like that over top, and this is going to seal in all of your letters. If you are worried about the washi tape coming up or coming unstuck at the corners, then that would be a good option. I wasn't worried about that, so I was cutting down all of my letters. This also makes them much sturdier as well, especially if I want to pop them up. Now this is my card base, and I knew that I wanted to use these dies here just to add a little bit more of a feminine touch because this is for a girl. This is the Lacey Edges 1 set, and this one is good value. I have used this a lot. This is not new out at all. This is an older die set, but it is still very good value, and I will use what I have. So I die cut out 2 of these. And it's okay that they're not even at the moment because they're going to become borders for me. So I have cut them in half once I've run them through my die cutting machine. And then this is where I thought I need them to stick out just a little bit more. So I'm going to actually pop some of the tumbled glass Distress Oxide just on the background of the card base, and then this way the die cuts that we've created are also going to stand out a little bit more. Now, could I have used something bigger to apply the ink? Yes, but I had my finger daubers out and that just seemed the easiest thing for me. Now I'm not going to worry about the middle here because obviously this will be covered up by the main page that we made, so that bit's okay. And then I just wanted a little bit more definition, so I'm also going to add some of the Uncharted Mariner, which is the other color that we used up in the middle section there, and I'm going to use some mint tape. This is just a low tack tape from scrapbook.com. It's the only place that sells it because I believe it's maybe their brand, I think actually, but anyway, I have tried many low tack tapes, and this one is my favorite by far. I know you've heard me say that before, but I still get lots and lots of questions about it. Now this way I just added that gorgeous little thin strip there to define that middle panel. You could also just add another piece of cardstock if that's what you want to do as well. And now it's really just a matter of assembling everything and putting it all together. So this kind of felt like a big assembly card. I've added on a little piece of double-sided tape there and then put on my die cuts, and they are just peeking through the perfect amount. I really think that this is what finished this off, cut this card off beautifully. And you could also add even some real lace or some real fabric. I think anything like that would go really nicely here. Then I add some more double-sided tape. This is the scrapbook.com one. It is very sticky. Once this goes down, nothing is coming up. One of the reasons that I have used dry adhesive here is because I have just put the Distress Oxide down onto the card base. So I must admit the ink is still, I mean, it's dry to the touch, but it's probably not super dry. So I prefer not to put liquid glue down onto that just because I feel like I get a much better adhesion with some dry tape there. So that's why I chose to use that. Now you can see that gorgeous lace border once I put it down onto that light blue background. As for the letters, I did decide at this point that I would pop each one up on a tiny little piece of foam tape. It's actually not that little. I can just cut a long piece into little pieces, so it's not too fiddly at all. And you can just see enough of the blue bubbles kind of poking in from around the outside, so that ends up working really perfectly. I also think that the vintagey brown sort of nature of the washi tape that I used ends up looking quite good. It contrasts beautifully against the blue, so I was really happy with how this card ended up working out. So I think it is just one of those cases. As I said, it's a motto of my channel that we use up what we have. We use all of those supplies that we choose to invest in, and sometimes you might see an idea or a video or get inspired, and you kind of have to look in your stash and imagine how you can use your things to make that work. So that, I guess, is something that I am really proud of and I really enjoy doing on this channel. If you are enjoying watching all of these videos, please consider supporting the channel. I have the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is always down below. I always have the links to the supplies, which are down below. If you would like to write me some snail mail or send me a card in the mail, I have my address down below as well. Also, if you were inspired by some of these videos and you would like to show me your finished projects, then I would love to see them, and the easiest way that you can do that is by joining our Facebook group. It's called Come Crafting with Natasha, and that way you can post your photos and I'm able to see, and you can talk to me and chat and comment there as well, which is really nice to be able to talk to everybody. So I will leave a link, or you can just search Come Crafting with Natasha and I will see you there as well. But anyhow, we are pretty much finished with this card today. This gives it, the little bit of foam tape on the letters gives it a gorgeous amount of dimension as well. So I like how this ended up. So thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know what you think of this card and a time that you had to really change up your plan a little bit depending on what you had in your stash. Other than that, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye!